The corruption of government officials is the top fear of Americans. This is pretty astonishing. This is a piece at Forbes, of all places. It's a study by Chapman University. It's the Survey of American Fears. They polled 1,207 U.S. adults on their level of fear across 80 different categories, ranging from crime to personal anxiety to natural disasters. They've been doing this for years, this study. And Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from Paris Climate Accords has made an impact, with 48% of Americans now fearful of global warming and climate change. 45% are afraid of air pollution. But here are the things that Americans are most afraid of. And I find this absolutely amazing. Number one on the list is corrupt government officials. 74% of Americans say that they're afraid of corrupt government officials. Now, I guarantee you that number would not have been anything close to that prior to the Reagan administration. Wouldn't have been there. So we got Ed, great. And I'm going to continue with this list in just a minute. But first, we have a guest on the line. Ed Rampell is with us. He is the film historian, writer, and senior editor at the Hollywood Progressive, organizer of the 70th anniversary of the Hollywood Blacklist tribute. The website, generosity.com/fundraising/Hollywood-blacklist-tribute. And you can tweet him at Hollywood Progre, P-R-O-G-R-E. Ed, welcome back to the program. It's been a while.
Hey, Tom. Great to talk to you. And a much simpler website, by the way, is blacklist-tribute.com.
Great.
The other one, I know, it's quite a mouthful, but then again, the whole Hollywood blacklist subject is a huge mouthful.
Right. So the blacklist happened 70 years ago, and therefore, presumably, a lot of people who are listening to the program right now may not even know what we're talking about, or if they do, they only know about it in very vague and indistinct terms. You want to set the table for us here, set the stage? What exactly was the blacklist, and how did it play out? What impact did it have on this country?
Exactly 70 years ago on Friday, October 27th, 1947, the very first member of the Hollywood 10 was called to testify before Congress about alleged subversion in the film industry. And basically, what happened, starting with John Howard Lawson, the first screenwriter to testify, was for about 13 years or more, talents in the entertainment industry were not allowed to perform unless they not only recanted and informed on themselves, their own activities. Let's say they supported a fundraiser against Franco during the Spanish Civil War, or they were members of the Communist Party, or any variety of progressive causes were supported. But then, and this is the real kicker, people then had to inform on everybody else that they knew, and if they didn't name names, crawl like rats, and be stool pigeons, then they would be blacklisted and not allowed to work for the motion picture industry studios.
Wow. Wow.
And Tom, it's important that people understand that the members of the Hollywood 10, such as Dalton Trumbo, they went to prison for contempt of Congress. They were fined, and people were driven during this awful period that then set the stage for McCarthyism, that people committed suicide. People like John Garfield and Canada Lee, who had bad hearts, Joe Bromberg, were put under such huge pressure that they did have heart attacks and die. So this was a huge era of government repression aimed at the left, the worst type of big government intrusion into the privacy of Americans. And we want to remind people what happened starting October 27th, 1947, 70 years ago to the day of our Friday event, because we see signs of something similar stirring in the winds, and we must never forget that Joe McCarthy's chief counsel, Roy Cohn, went on to become Donald Trump's mentor and attorney.
Right. And this is very concerning. Now, there were some clear heroes of the Blacklist era. I mean, Paul Jericho and Dalton Trumbo and like that. But there were also some villains. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, but we're talking with Ed Rampell. But my recollection is that Ronald Reagan was actually informing to the FBI while he was president of the Screen Actors Guild about people that he thought should be on the blacklist. Do I have that right?
That's true. There were a lot of people who cooperated. There were a lot of informers. And we are going to be reading at this event the transcripts of the House Un-American Activities Committee hearings. And we're going to have the transcripts of 2 informers. However, what we are stressing and what we are focusing on is the heroic resistance of people, whether it was Zero Mostel, the great comedian, or the screenwriter Albert Maltz, the actress Madeline Lee, John Garfield, and many others. The heroic resistance that people who refuse to be so-called friendly witnesses, so-called cooperative witnesses. And this is what we're really concentrating on, although we will have testimony from 2 of the informers read. And one of them will be read by Norma Barsman, a 97-year-old survivor of the Hollywood Blacklist, who will read the testimony of the informer who gave away the names of all of their mutual friends.
Wow. So it's still alive. It's still raw for some of these people. That's remarkable, 70 years on.
And then we're going to have Marsha Hunt is planning to be there. Marsha turned 100 years old this month.
Wow.
And in 1947, she got on that airplane with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall and a bunch of other Hollywood stars and directors and so on, and they flew to Washington, D.C. to observe the Hollywood 10 hearings, and Marsha is planning to attend our event, and we're going to have a special 100-year-old birthday celebration for Marsha. And 91, on October 31st, 91-year-old Lee Grant made a special video for us discussing how her comment, like a one-sentence comment at the memorial service of her friend Joe Bromberg, caused Lee Grant, who was only about 25 or 26, she had just won an Academy Award for her first major role opposite Kirk Douglas in Detective Story. Lee made one public comment at a memorial service and then was blacklisted from movies until about 1964.